who the hell this guy is. And I say, I will tell you who I am. I am a ghost. I don't exist. I am master spy for the West. Some stupid people in the intelligence blow my cover. And this is a Secret Service, United States Secret Service. They send me a guy who do the printing. They send me a truck with paper, magnetic ink, and all the stuff. We rent a place. We get to the point that we start to print the money. Day and night, day and night, day and night. Got 3 shifts, people there. I can't tell you how much money we print. If it's billions, if it's millions, or it's trillions.
It was authorized by the U.S. government to pay for what?
For covert operations. The money that we print is never appeared anywhere.
Where is it?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? I've been 10 years undetected. Because I know too much. They told me, you don't live in 48 hours, they're going to kill you. As you know, my name is Dr. Julio Antonio del Marmol. I've been a spy for practically all my life, over 60 years. I want to share with you today something extremely important. I not easily get concerned because I know every problem has a solution. But what is going on in our country right now is start to be an extremely concern for myself and my associates. The answer for this, it's hard to figure it out. It's either our president is a clueless, he don't have no idea that what is going on, and is completely blind, or is in the tank with our enemies, especially with the Chinese, because the measurements, the executive orders, the every single step is making with this administration is in detriment to everyone of us, including everyone, no matter what political affiliation they have, Democrats, Republicans, or Independents, because it affects to everyone. The gasoline go to 5, 6, 7, 8. Eventually, probably going to be $10 or $15 a gallon. What we used to pay $1.50, and the border open. It's an extremely concern to every single individual, no freedom, and actually want to see this country safe. We start banning attempts to airports, to harbors, to many places. But imagine what is going to happen in the near future with all these massive illegal immigration we're getting in this country that we relocated in the middle of the night to different states, are they checking the background, or sometimes don't even have no documentation at all to who these people are or for what country they're coming from. The only thing I can say to you guys is simple, and I want to make this short today because I've been made myself very clear through all my videos, or all my explanation I've been what I have gatherings and speech engagement. I want to ask you, every man and woman in this country, how Joe Biden, Hunter, getting paid more for his paintings, has never been painting in his life before, than any paint done by Rambling, Picasso, or one of those major artists in the entire world. And it's very simple. And the scary thing is nobody investigating this. My question to you today, if nobody investigating this individual that we all know they've been have done things not really transparent, to be gentle and nice with him in the eyes to everyone. And he always mentioned his partner or his associate supposed to get the 10% of whatever he make. My question to you guys is, how we investigating anybody that go and do any protest or anything against to this administration, but we not running a full and deep investigation, and these men that's getting away with millions, if not billions of dollars, and in plain sight, in the eyes to everyone in the public. And I don't hear a single newspaper or television channel or radio show talking about this subject. That sounds strange to you enough? What is going on? My question is, if we all don't get involved and we all don't demand for this administration, it's clarify all these shitty things that's been happening lately in our country, we all going to be in deep trouble. Because all what it takes in Cuba is one single year to they destroy the whole democracy. In one single year, they annul the Congress, annul the Houses represented, and destroy the Constitution. Then they confiscate the weapons to everyone, and whatever don't comply, go to jail. Okay? And how you going to defend yourself when you're going to be disarmed and a group of miserable individuals with no scruples at all politicians, they what they got in mind is enrich themselves. They don't even know they digging their own grave, because eventually they going down too. Because when they finish with all us, they going to go after them. I want you ask that question to yourself. What is the next step? We have to go and make a voice here peacefully and demand through the court system or to the justice system or whatever it takes, a group enough, the majority of people, to demand is clarification in all these things that's going on in our country today that we don't have no logic for. I'm going to review to you today something completely classified, and probably you're not going to ever see this in the news here, there, or anywhere. Okay? We discovered that we have already in motion for years a program with the Chinese military that they implanting a chip. This is going to sound to you like a science fiction. In the soldier's brain, they want to make this individual not protest or deny any mission, kill their conscience to be able to obey orders to the point to kill or annihilate masses, groups of people, and also make them insensitive to pain, as what they calling the perfect soldier. This program is being developed for years, and now we have very fresh information with one of their subjects that we implant in their system, and we got in our hands what they've been doing in order to move forward and control the entire world through this magnificent technology that they've been developed, stealing our tremendous discovery in our military and in technology, and also with our money that they've been getting from us in grants and things they've been getting from administrations like this one now. Another thing I want to let you know that you're not going to see in any news or newspaper or anywhere else. I just come back from Cuba, and I verify the Chinese Communist Party just sealed a deal with the Cuban government. Practically, they're going to be owned half to the island if they don't pay in time the big, huge loan that they getting from the Chinese Communist Party. In other words, this loan is millions of dollars, if it's not billions. They're going to be part to the development to not only military for private buildings and tourist resorts in Cuba. If the government of Cuba, like they've been doing in South Asia and Asia and other places, default this long, they got a clause in that contract that they have the right to own not only the business they build, the building they build, but the land they lease for them for 100 years. They will own part to that island. In other words, the Chinese, as we are sleeping, moving to control the South and Central America and the Caribbean island and invest millions, billions, or trillions of dollars to get the food in there and put in a stronghold militarily in case they have a confrontation with United States of America. That is the new development, and I wanted to let you know that this has been in motion for at least a few years, and they closed the deal recently. My name is Dr. Julio Antonio del Marmol. My code as a spy is the Cuban Lightning. I was born and raised in Cuba, and I've been seeing the lies up close. At 12, I became the youngest commander in the revolution and the youngest spy for the West in the history of the world. With my books, I hope to open your eyes to the reality of today, my friends. I've been living my life from when I'm 11 years old, inside to the belly to the monster. In 1959, the revolution went. Castro was fascinated. He said, I want you to be the organizer for my army in the future. He pulled out his briefcase, pulled a weapon, gun. This is for you. You're going to be the commander, the supreme commander to my forces for the future. Che Guevara take me this morning to the building where they're training all the people, the executives. They're going to take over not only the phone company, the electrical company, and they're not going to stop according to Che Guevara until they take even the hot dog stand. If this happens, my father is going to lose everything he worked all his life. My father. And I say, oh my God, what we've been doing. I tell my uncle, I live in Cuba. I said, why you live in Cuba? Don't leave Cuba. Stay with us. We will train you, and you want to be the best, to the best that we have.
And so who did your uncle work for?
I believe CIA, Mossad, everywhere, intelligence community. I coming to be an intelligence source to the West. So powerful. I come in a spy by fluke because I never dreamed to be a spy.
Communism is a failed system, universally failed system. And I don't see socialism as a very useful substitute.
That was President Biden making his strongest comments to date about communism and the protests that have erupted in Cuba in response to that communist regime. Joining us now to discuss, Julio Antonio del Marmol, an international intelligence advisor and Cuban freedom fighter. He also has personal ties to the island nation, as well as our panelists, Bobby Eberly and Jesse Jane Duff as well. So now that we're all here, wonderful to see everyone. Julio, I want to start with you. We just heard from President Biden there. He spoke about communism's failure. But what comes next? What could he do to assist Cubans currently living under the communist regime?
Actually, thank you very much for you guys having me in your program today.
Sure.
I've been doing this from around 12 years old. And I see different presidents handle Cuba a different way. I can tell you one thing. What this president is doing right now is the worst any other president ever do before. What the whole situation, what's going on around our country right now is very similar to what I left behind in Cuba. But to answer your question, the proper thing to do is support these people is in the street, and they not screaming for vaccine, they are screaming for freedom. And freedom has got only one name. You cannot disguise that. And if the president is needed sympathy, just we don't asking for extreme sacrifices or anything, just a little sympathy. Or what he had to do is call the United Nations and say, let's send some troops to Cuba behind the United Nations, and let's be observing what in reality occurred in Cuba. Yeah. And don't try to blame vaccines or the United States of America or the CIA like they always get away with.
Right. Clearly, calls for freedom, for liberty, as well, speaking out against the oppressive regime here. Julio, maybe you can give us a better understanding as to what is actually at risk for those who are protesting in the streets of Cuba right now by speaking out.
You don't even have an idea, because, and I not expect any individual born in this country understand the magnitude of the evil that these people possess. The Cuban regime has been killing people for thousands. I got a friend of mine spent 20 years in jail, the third commander in the revolution, Hugo Matos, because he sent a letter to Fidel in the beginning of the revolution telling, please, my friend, don't turn the Cuban revolution, the beautiful revolution, into a socialist or communist system, because this is not what the Cuban people want, and it's not what the people died in the revolution for. And he put it for 20 years in jail, and one of his best friends. Imagine what happened to those people today, what they risk to go to the streets and reveal to the entire world what they're suffering, and expose it internationally. They can go from, take it to a concentration camp, what they call it re-education camps. They can put it in jail, under extremely harsh conditions. And the best scenario, this is what I'm telling you now, the worst scenario and the best scenario. The worst scenario, they ended dead, because I have information in the past 24 hours that they got some snipers and top to some buildings, and they've been shooting some of the protesters from those buildings.
Yeah, so Julio, what you're describing is, quite frankly, it could be a life or death situation in some of these cases here.
It's the question sometimes you have to ask yourself, if you got a cancer in one finger, and if you don't cut that finger, no matter what is wrong to cut that finger, you're going to lose the whole body.
Hi, my name is James Hardy. I'm here with Totally LA, and I'm here with Dr. Del Marmol for my second interview. And Dr. Del, can you please explain to us what you see happening here in America and in Cuba when you were doing your work? Can you briefly explain that?
My name is Dr. Julio Antonio del Marmol. I've been a spy professional spy, master spy, for over 60 years of my life. I come to be a spy in Cuba, where I work with Fidel Castro and his elite, being fresh a commander-in-chief, creating for Fidel Castro what is considered like Adolfo Hitler young youth army. He picked me because my father is a contributor, one of the most important financiers in the revolution, because he feel when he fresh meet me that I got the spice or the character or whatever you want to call the personality to direct his future army forces. And what I discovered very short time later, what really is going on and behind the curtains, and I see what Che Guevara told me, that it will be completely nationalized, every cent from the phone company, telephone company, to the single hot dog stand in the street. Nobody going to own no business in Cuba no more, because they want to control the nation, and the only way to control the nation is using the economical sources. That is the only way they can make people do what they want to do. And not only that, the people will be have no other choice, because they will be the only one provide the bread and the butter. And if they don't do what they tell it to do, they will not get bread and butter and die hunger. And that is exactly what happened many years later in Cuba. But come back to my life in Cuba, I will let you know that this is not a tale you read in the book or you see in a movie. Or no. This is my life, what I saw every day. And what I saw in Cuba every day is exactly a photocopy of what is going on in the United States of America now. Why? Because they start with the same tactics. The pandemic, the rigging the elections, the tricks to elect the presidents they want, the forcing people to do things that they don't want to do, nationalize even the private accounts, the saving accounts, and the individuals in the private sector, because you cannot have more than $1,000 in the beginning in your bank, because it's considered capitalist and considered you a bourgeois, and you're not supposed to have that much money. Then they took your money away, leave you $1,000. At the beginning, I think it's $3,000. Then they go down to $1,000, and in a little while, nobody have nothing left. Okay, the government take all the money for everybody, the business for everybody, the cars, every single thing. You even want to move from one neighborhood to another, you cannot move out of your house. I have a permission to the government to negotiate a deal through the government, and see the government allow, then you can move and exchange your house for the other. You cannot sell your house no more. And we will say the private property cease to exist. All the freedom and liberties disappear. Anybody say anything against the government for whatever reason, the most rational thing that you have to be in line for hours in order to get a loaf of bread, they consider you an enemy, and they stigmatize those that speak against the government like worms. They are worms, and then they put it in jail, they put it in concentration camp, they call it re-education camps, and it's exactly the same steps they took in those days. What I see is being happen today in America. Wow. This is unbelievable, and I saw with my own eyes this. Not only in Cuba, in Venezuela, in Nicaragua, because the dream is controlled South and Central America, and through the same techniques and Machiavellic manners, penetrate United States of America, and accordingly with Che Guevara, are shooting a single weapon, a single bullet. They're going to take away your freedom to religion, your country, and everything you ever dreamed to have before. And when you realize it, unfortunately, it will be too late. too late because you cannot defend yourself. The weapon is confiscated by the government. You don't even have a weapon to fight the government any longer because they consider it illegal. And anybody find in their house with a firearm, they consider it traitors, worms, and CIA. Believe it or not, people die in Cuba for hundreds of thousands, accused to be a CIA, and they don't even know what the hell the CIA mean.
What you might think is impossible is already in motion. This is coming from someone who has survived and managed to escape these miseries. You will lose your family and all what you work for. I want you to be aware of it and find the way to stop it. If you love your God, your country, and you want to keep it, then you must educate yourself. Read my books. This is my final mission.
Question, when it comes to the integrity elections, can you briefly explain, I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but can you briefly explain how that is happening and what you saw in Cuba when it comes to elections integrity? Why is it important that we must take a stand and not just allow them to vote based on your experience?
The elections will be disappear for probably a decade or longer. There's no more elections in Cuba because they say that we don't need elections. In other words, and because they in control, they got the weapons, they got the control to the economy. Who is going to tell them no? It had to be elections. They annul the Congress, they annul the House of Representatives. Guys, they have exactly the same thing we have here now in Cuba. House of Representatives, senators, every single thing, the same system, and they dismantling the whole thing in less than a year. Okay? Now, let's coming back to this. What happened to the wealth? Everybody started to run out of Cuba because nobody want to live in there anymore. Well, now we're going after your passport. Take your passports away because only people supposed to be authorized to have passports are the people members of the government or the diplomatic attaches, groups, and circles. Any other individual no need to have a passport because they're not going to go anywhere. That is determined by an arbitrary, what they call it, amendments, because there's no constitution. They annul the constitution too. They dictated one single newspaper because they intervene all the newspapers. They have only one single newspaper, grammar, and in that newspaper, only is printing what the government wants. Now, you are in a totalitarian, completely system where you cannot even leave your country. Then people start to see little boats, little planes to smuggling, leave Cuba, because everybody wants to get out of there. Who want to live in a system like that? Well, that is where they start the killing. Even families getting in little boats, try to escape Cuba. They send the jets with the Russian jet, the meat. And one of my friends survived one of those attacks, shooting in the ocean, killed the entire family. She is the only survivor. Why? Because it's an embarrassment for the Cuban government to see so many people leaving Cuba. And they have to stop it some way around the line. And they don't care if they have to kill families, entire families in the ocean. Thousands, it's not hundreds of thousands of people die in that, what we call in the Gulf of Mexico, because the Cuban government is an embarrassment to see so many people leaving Cuba. In other words, the democracy completely disappear, and people live under that regime, controlled by 24 hours by fear, because you are afraid to anybody in the middle of the night knocking on your door, like at the Gestapo in Germany, and pull you out of the house, like this gentleman inside a little while ago say, they coming to your house. Oh, they're going to come into your house. The minute you say something against the government or say something inappropriate, what they say now, Biden the other day, say misinformation. Anybody is misinforming the public going to be arrested or going to be charged. This is exactly what they did in there. In other words, you misinform the people, they call it a different name. You actually an enemy to the government. Right. For ended, they coming in the middle of the night, pick you up, and put it in the party wagons, and they ship you with no trial, no nothing, to a concentration camp. They call it re-education camp.
Wow.
90% or 95% of the time, the events occur around the world. The people never get to know the truth.
So my final question, Dr. Dale, is what can we do as Americans with all that is happening, everything you just explained, and we are seeing the tip of the iceberg? What is it that we can do right now, not later, right now, that can help put a stop to all of this? In the short answer, as best as you can.
This is not easy. This is something that's been in the process for over 60 or 70 years. It's not going to be easy. We've been sleeping. I've been telling even my people in the CIA, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, it's happening already. And people continue to deny it and say, no, it's not going to happen in the United States of America. This is a free country in the world. Well, it's happening right now, guys. Wake up. And I tell you, the only thing you can do is unify. United. Black, Chinese, white, whatever the hell race is, it's not making any difference. We're all brothers and sisters. And we're all going to be slaves. United. And tell these people, no. We're not going to accept you laws anymore. We're not going to accept that you actually controlling by machines and by the big corporations the vote. Who you're going to determine who is going to be my next president? No, no more. And then you guys get together like what we're doing right now. And most important, educating the new generation, educating the children. That's what we try to do. I got 5 comic books already in the market, and we're making a graphic novel to tell the children what is going to happen, because they don't know. And what you don't know that it's hot. You put your hand and you burn and you leave your skin in there. But see, you know, you don't do it. You say, no, that is hot. Then when they see communists, they say, no, hell with communists is the worst. They don't even they don't allow me to even believe in Jesus Christ, because they are the only power. And the reason they do that is because they don't want to people follow any God. They are the gods, the new gods. This gentleman here has been around me for over 25 years. It's been my private pilot. It's been my protector. It's been with me in many, many, many places. And for the first time, I put her in the camera because I never like to put her in the camera. He coming in the background sometimes. But I want to show you guys my gratitude for this man, because he's risking his life many times. As a professor of the martial arts, he is a champion, okay? He risked his life many times to keep me alive. This is what I call one of the most wonderful angels that Jesus sent to me, to keep me alive and be able to do what I'm doing and speak freely like I do it right now in the middle of the nowhere in the parking lot. Okay? All right? You have a great, great time, guys. God bless you. God bless you, United States of America. And please don't let I call this nation my adopted mother. Don't let my adopted mother go through the same suffering and the same misery that my real mother, Cuba, go through. Please, fight. Fight and tell these people in the face, no, no more. No more. We're not going to take this no more. Right. Okay? And reform the voting system, because the voting system is completely corrupt. And we got almost all the institutions in this country, they are corrupt. We have to start to pick the bad apples in all these institutions, CIA, FBI, everywhere. We got this bad seed. We have to start to take it out and flush it in the toilet. Okay? You have a great day, and God bless you.
I don't say we don't do sometimes bad things. We do things it's illegal. We do things they not, I feel that great and comfortable about it.
The last attempt of my life was actually the 56th attempt.
Dr. Marmol frequently used techniques such as this to convey secret information to the resistance fighters inside Cuba.
I'm not a CIA. I'm not work for any government at all. I'm a freedom fighter. I got a really bad nose. O'Brien is the guy, my connection with the superior intelligence network.
I know I don't need to say this, but remember, once your foot is on the island, you don't know us.
A man has been sent to assassinate Dr. Marmol after his meeting with O'Brien. Cuba, one of the most beautiful of the Caribbean islands. But by 1959, it had become one of the most dangerous.
We know for fact the Cuban government is training in those camps in Cuba. What we assume they are either Iraqis, Iranians, or Jordanians. We always prayed we don't have to use that weapon, because using that weapon means confrontation. And I'm not looking for confrontation. I'm looking to sneak in and sneak out and do my job.
He boards a disguised fishing vessel working with global intelligence that will drop him off the Cuban coast.
Many times I freeze my bones in those Cuban coasts, waiting for the light or the signal to one of my freedom fighters friends to indicate me the coast is clear and I can coming in.
Dr. Julio Antonio del Marmol, born in 1947 in Pinar del Rio, Cuba, at the age of 12 had been appointed by Castro commander-in-chief of the young commanders of the rebel army. After Castro became an even more oppressive dictator than his predecessor Batista, Julio turned against the Castro regime, becoming one of the most hunted international spies, codenamed by Castro himself as the Lightning.
And we accomplished what another intelligence group don't, because they have to consult with the superiors, they have to consult with high authorities. We coordinate what we're going to do, and we hit the target, take a place, and we do it. And that is the way we'll be working for approximately 50 years. Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Enjoy.
Wait a minute. Don't do this. Don't. I believe in democracy, in freedom to speech, and in God. And I will defend these principles until the last days of my life.
First of all, his father, Leonardo del Marmol, was the principal financier behind Castro's revolution in Cuba. He brought together his Masonic brothers, he's a Grand Master Mason, to provide the financing to buy all the weapons and munitions that they needed to win the revolution. Castro had sold them, like he did everybody else, a bill of goods. And when the revolution won, Dr. del Marmol was 11 years old. This was January of 1959. And carried away by all the patriotic fervor of his father. He comes from a very patriotic family. A great-grandfather was a major general in the War of Independence against the Spanish Crown. There are streets named after him, Donato del Marmol. And he basically wanted to get involved in some way, shape, or form. And his father said, "You're a very intelligent young boy. I'm sure you've got ideas. Write him a letter. I'll get it to Fidel." So he wrote out a plan to organize the youth of Cuba into an army of the future to replace any Batista holdovers that might still be lurking in the ranks of the army, and so on and so forth. Castro loved it so much, he flew from Havana to Pinar del Rio, met this young kid, said, "I don't care how young you are." He gave him a pistol, made him a commander in the Cuban army, the regular army, and made him the commander-in-chief of the youth army. He knew Che Guevara, Raul, Fidel, all those guys a little too well sometimes. Che Guevara wanted to groom him as a personal protege. And because of that, he was being taken everywhere. He saw what they were planning. He goes to his father and says, Dad, they're planning on going communist. His father didn't want to hear about it, called him a traitor, threw him out of the house. In frustration, he goes to an uncle in Havana, tells him everything. And I don't want to be involved in this anymore. I'm going to take this pistol, go to the airport, put it at the pilot's head, and fly a plane to Miami. And his uncle says, calm down. Asks him some testing questions to see if his reactions are genuine, because, of course, he's immediately wondering if he's being set up, but being used as his own nephew against him. And then basically says, you know what? You put your life in my hands. I'm going to do the same to you. I'm a spy. And you are perfectly placed. Please don't go anywhere. If you're willing to do this, I will train you so you can survive and you can really make a difference. So before he'd even turned 12, he became a spy. He took secrets out of Castro's very office for 10 years, undetected. Our politicians blew his cover in 1971, and that's when he had to leave Cuba. He had to go clear across the island to the eastern end, through swamps, jungles, minefields, swim for 12 hours in the freezing October water to get into the naval base.
So you went to Guantanamo?
Yes. And from there, they airlifted him to the United States. And even then, that wasn't without a glitch, because you can't get political asylum at Guantanamo. So Castro's leaking it to the international press that the U.S. is illegally harboring this fugitive from Cuban law and demanding his immediate extradition. And the State Department said, we have no record of entry of this man, but we'll make inquiries. And he disappeared. So not only is this man a spy, he is a real-life ghost. There's no record of where he lives. No one knows where he lays his head at night. He comes and goes as he pleases. He's got 18 passports. And he has sacrificed so much. They've tried to kill him 56 times because of everything he knows. He's been inside the belly of the communist beast. He knows exactly how they move, how they think, what their plans are. And in 1988, he was the head of an operation for Ronald Reagan that caused the tearing down the Berlin Wall and the economic collapse of the Soviet Union. He tried to warn our government about an impending attack on New York City, a terrorist attack, which of course became 9/11. He's been involved in very major things, world-altering things. He was an eyewitness to the planning and execution of Kennedy's assassination. I'm trying not to tear up because I'm thinking of this next bit. They killed his wife and son.
Yeah, that was the hardest part of the book.
Yeah, and he is probably the noblest man, including my own father, that I've ever known. And so it is my very great pleasure and honor to introduce everyone listening to this to Dr. Julio Antonio del Marmol.
Fidel Castro promised freedom, prosperity, and a land of milk and honey. Instead, the citizens of the island nation of Cuba received only death and despair. A young boy grows up during the revolution in Cuba. A self-proclaimed hero takes over the country. The young boy follows in his footsteps. Castro's rule quickly turns into a dictatorship. Thousands are executed. The boy sees his illusion shattered. The world's youngest spy is born. Part of Castro's inner circle, the boy, Julio Antonio del Marmol, is the leader of the Young Commandos, a communist youth organization. Fidel gives him a gun, a uniform, and his trust. The boy sees the brutality of Che, the cowardice of Raúl, and the ruthlessness of Fidel Castro. Now he is in the middle of a swirling vortex of death, betrayal, and greed, a game like that of Russian roulette. A game the whole world is playing with Cuba. Cuba, Russian Roulette of the World, by Julio Antonio del Marmol.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. This is one of his stories. I would encourage you to go out and get this book. This man is a patriot.
Thank you.
So how old were you when you left Cuba then? Or went to Guantanamo anyway? I assume there was probably a little bit of weight there.
23 years old.
23.
Have a boy, a 3 years old boy. Not to leave it behind.
Wow.
I'm telling everybody, this is the worst nightmare, not only for you guys, for everyone left their countries, persecuted by communists or any totalitarian regime around the world. Because this is a lighthouse to the chips, to the entire world. If we abandon this lighthouse, the world perish.
Yes.
And I love this country as I love my native country of Cuba. I call it my adopted mother. And I now want to see what I see, not only in Cuba, all over the world. Wherever these people put their boots, they put the misery, the division, the races, the most unbelievable evil that anybody can conceive. They are not going to go after you only for your money, your bank account, your business, your religion. They're going to go after you for your soul.
And your freedom.
Your soul is your freedom. After they get your soul, you don't have no freedom. This is not politics anymore. This is evil against good. And if we don't stop that evil, we will perish all. I tell people all the time, I try to prevent this for almost 60 years. I've been growing old in this country, around the world, preventing terrorist attacks, doing things that you cannot imagine it. And I don't want to tell you because I don't want to scare anyone. I want to let you know that the first tactic these people use is fear. And that is the reason you should not afraid or say anything to put fear in people's mind. I tell people all the time that 90% of the people drowning, they don't drowning because they don't know how to swim. They drowning because they are in fear. And your muscles paralyzed and your brain block all your nervous system, and you cannot even defend yourself to even get up and swim to the surface to get air. This is one of the tactics I see these people employ all over the world. And this, as Donald Trump called it, Chinese virus, because this created a military weapon to precisely to test our weakness, is being embraced by their friends in this country, by supposedly friends and allies, because we all Americans.
You would think we were Americans first, but
unfortunately, I call it mercenaries. The mercenaries don't have no country, no soul. And they don't care about you, me, God, or anything else. They care about their well-being and the greed and the power. And we have many of those people in this country because it's been corrupted. We got 2 CIAs, 2 FBIs, 2 State Department. We got 2 in everything, good and bad. And those bad elements that been penetrating our institutions, they not have mercy with anyone. They want to take everything away from you. And if you don't stand forward and defend your freedom, you will be a miserable slave for the rest of your life. I want to tell you guys today one thing that I not normally tell people. But as this situation is growing radical and really deprimant in all this country and around the world, and the administration we have today is the worst administration I ever see in this country. I have the the obligation and the duty to make a call. And that call to you guys is, you don't even know what is going on. You don't even know the level to the corruption that we have in our government today. We cannot prevent it, and worse, we are unified. It's not Republicans, Independents, or Democrats. It's evil against good. And if we don't stand forward, we will all lose not what we work our life, because they don't like to work. They want to enjoy your sweat and your blood like vampires, and live in your house, drive in your cars, but they don't want to work. That is the mistake that people don't make in this country. The people are so worried about driving a Bentley, have a beautiful house in the beach. I don't blame anyone to love those things, because that is part of our life. That is what God sent us, to live well and enjoy our life. But we have to dedicate some time to our life to defend what is more valuable for us. And it's our family, our roots, our institutions, our religion, and make a pause in between all this hard work we do every day to get that wealth. It's good to enjoy with your family. But if you don't do that pause and you don't dedicate some time for your country and for your institutions and protect those, you're not going to have nothing that what you work for. They're going to take everything away from you. And I've been witnessing that in Cuba, in Venezuela, in Nicaragua, and in every country around the world where these people set the boots.
Well, there is no example of a communist country that has been promoting freedom. They talk about equity, which is the opposite of our nation. I want equality of opportunity. Everybody with their abilities rises to where they should be. If they work harder, sometimes they get lucky, but if they work harder, if they're smarter, they should have more success. That doesn't mean that they're different in the eyes of the law. I want equal in the eyes of the law.
I always say nobody is better or worse to anyone. It's all depends to your own effort. Your own effort to make your life better, to be positive, to embrace whatever religion you want to embrace. But it's only one God. And all religions move around
one God,
one single God. And this God is the one, is the master to the universe. And we all should praise that God.
Amen.
Amen.
He had a one-of-a-kind deal with the intelligence community when he got out of Cuba. And that is that he works with our intelligence agencies, CIA, NHS, whatever, but not for them. He's never cashed a check from the federal government. He has the right to say no, because he knows that intelligence is a filthy business, and some things they might ask him to do would compromise his moral principles, and he wanted to be able to say no to that. And so he's able to tell his story however he wants to. He never signed a confidentiality document. And basically, his principle is, I don't want to compromise anyone. I want to tell my story responsibly. So some names are changed because he's protecting people, or sometimes we change the occurrences or the exact sequence of events to protect other information. So that's why it's called Based on a True Story. It is the true story. He just had to change a few things to protect people.
That is completely understandable.
Respecting the other people's life, I entitled to do in my life whatever I want to. The soon we continue to be a free country, but I'm not entitled to put at risk anyone that the people is in my behalf, being helping and sacrificing all what they have, including their families, to mention their names in anywhere.
of manners, and worse, they tell me go ahead and do it. Come back with Mr. Atkinson, say, my uncle trained me very well. My uncle is a master spy from the World War II, and he's implanted in the Caribbean islands, tried to prevent the Nazis to take over in South and Central America. He is the master spy in the whole entire region, and I get the honor to say he is my teacher and my mentor, and he prevent me many times. Watch out, because inside to our organization there are snakes, and those snakes bite you once only. They are deadly. You're not going to survive. In other words, you walk in seeing eyes, and be careful every move you do, and take all the precautions and the insurance is necessary to any government, president, vice president, secretary of state, any position at all that these individuals hold, try to have something, and then in case they turn against you, because I see many of my people die because politicians wash their hands and let it die, and they don't save their life what they most needed, and betray their ideas, betray their morals, commitment, and don't care at all for the human life, only to themselves.
We should be choosing politicians on character, and we don't seem to. It seems to be a popularity contest largely, and then you add in people are loyal to party, and I'm loyal to ideas and people that are good people. I'm technically a Republican, but I drop that in a second if I needed to, because that's not what's important.
When we finish this program, I'm going to have a tremendous pleasure to talk to you off the air, because you look to me and sounds to me and give me the reading that you are a very good, honest man.
I try.
And I don't want you get caught with the pants down, as my friends in all over the world been dying in vain. I want you be what I say to people. You have to come into be. You want to have a good president? Get a master spy to be a president. You know why? Because they know the ins and out to the whole machinery. Nobody can trick them. And I tried to prevent President Trump. Unfortunately, my message maybe don't go through, or I don't know what happened. So sometimes the what you call it, the pencil pushers, what you call in English, pencil pushers in the White House or here or there, the bureaucrats don't do fair to the people have experience, and the people try to guiding them, and they want to attribute themselves to be the quote advisors to the president.
They want the power.
And managed to get the ear to the president. I told the president, this is not a contest like the apprentices. This is actually the real game. And if you don't open your eyes and do what you're supposed to do, clean house, the first day you walking in there, it's not going to be a white house anymore. It's going to be a bloody house. What it turned to be eventually, because they don't let it go from the beginning to the end. I don't even know. Listen, I'm not involved in politics. I just like to be the man behind the president. I don't want to be the president or in any political position. But I'm telling you, it's unbelievable how they manipulate things to make the truth look like a lie, and make the lie so well dressed like it looks like a truth. And I told President Trump, I don't even know how he managed to accomplish what is extraordinary, what he accomplished in 4 years under that constantly attack that he have 24 a day. in the news, in the inside of the White House, in the leaks. It's unbelievable. But unfortunately, he is not prepared. And unfortunately, sometimes you coming in a position that you, no matter what, he is an intelligent man and he got a very strong character. You have to listen to those got the good heart and want to guide you in the right track. If you don't, eventually you not will succeed. They will destroy you.
On a position like that, nobody can make it on their own. They have to have good advisors and actually listen to them.
An excellent team.
Yeah.
An excellent team.
Team is the right word.
Absolutely. I tell my guys all the time, I'm not a dictator or totalitarian regime. Even in my books, I consult my friends. My friends, I call them this team is my team in the daytime. The other team is the night team. What we call it, the night grade team. That is what I've been doing for 60 or 65 years to keep your freedom afloat and don't let it drown. And I tell you, they ask me how the hell you manage. Sometimes you sleep 2 or 3 hours at night, or in the day, whatever you can. How you can survive? You're 74 years old now. You have to slow down. I say I will retire when I die. It's going to be my retirement. And before that, I don't think I can. I try. Believe me, I got beautiful places around the world. What I built my own hands, not taking any penny for anyone. And I don't even have time to enjoy. I go once a year, maybe, or once every 2 years to visit it and say hello and say goodbye, because I don't have the time. And I try. I say, after 9/11, that is the worst experience I ever have in my life. And I never will forget, because it's in our hands at that time to stop what happened.
There was only one good experience for a short period of time.
We unified.
It was a short period of time.
2 days.
But it was kind of special. It showed us that we could have that it could happen, and we need to not forget that we were united in protecting freedom first, that we were Americans first. And it is truly sad that disappeared within 2 days. And if you go back and look at the tapes, look who those people were that immediately started dividing us.
Unfortunately, it's exactly what I'm going to say, but I wait because I don't want to interrupt you. Those individuals cannot survive if we unified. And they immediately start to work in dividing us, because that destroyed them. That union destroyed them. And immediately they start to create conspiracy theories. Bush will put bombs in the buildings, they blow it, the buildings themselves. The most crazy, outrageous stories you see in the internet. Who you think is spend money, because that costs money. Anything you do have to have financials. If you don't have financials, nothing move. And I call him Mr. Franklin, very powerful gentleman. And what is exactly what this president is doing right now? I tell people, don't be Democrat, don't be Republican for 5 minutes, please. And listen to what I say. Who and why a president of the United States want you to have the gasoline price at $5 or $10 a gallon, because it's going to be at the pace we go? Well, we can have it for $1.50. Why? What is the interest of the president for that? Why closing the pipeline that we make us independent to the rest of the world and make us slaves again? Because division, because control, because fear. That is one of the things people have to ask themselves. Why open the borders? You open the front door of your house in town and call all the thief in town and tell it, come over, take my microwave, my TV. You do that? No. Why these men, they're supposed to work for us, close, and worse, they close the borders, they almost finish it. They're costing now millions of dollars to have that iron in the floor there. Cost more to not finish it, to being now finishing. You think about it and you say, what is the interest to any president to do such a sin? It's an agenda.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
We don't have the time, but I can explain to you in details what is the agenda. And that agenda is not from now. It's from decades and decades. What they sending the people to penetrate at the schools, primary schools, colleges, universities, infiltrate people they're supposed to be calling professors. They're nothing more and spreading propaganda.
Yeah. CRT is
and
just a way to divide
turning
us.
around you kids against you and the establishment and the society because they want to create that disorder that 9/11 intend to do, and they fail because they unite us for a very short time, like you say. But they immediately put their soldiers and move because they realize it, the tremendo fiasco they did, and they immediately move to destroy the Union and create division, races, and pay, because all these people, they probably, your audience know, they have been paid in cash. I penetrate myself some of those groups. They pay in cash hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Antifa, to the Black Lives Matter, to all these people to destroy property, to go and burn cars, burn buildings, destroy business, because doing that, creating a chaotic situation they're looking for.
Well, it created an atmosphere of fear. Then it created division because they were allowed to do that, but law-abiding citizens couldn't even go to church. They lost their freedom of assembly because they took it. I don't believe we lost it. I believe they took it. They just complied to the government. Or I don't believe that anything less than a medical grade mask works in 95. And that doesn't work very well because this virus is in the air.
Well, let's just say that I know for a fact that Dr. Del Marmol, his PhD is in genetics, and because of his work, when they put him over to MIT, he took several intensive courses in infectious and contagious diseases. And shortly after, I think it was in March, they pulled him into the labs to analyze a sample of this virus. And he told me quite a bit about it. And yeah, yes, the N95s, they actually do more harm than good.
Well, that I believe, but I do think they do probably work a tiny bit. I've seen a couple studies where they were like a percentage. Less than an N95, you can't even say that. But if you wear it for more than a couple hours, which, in a medical setting, you would wear it for a couple hours, you would then change out your mask. They're having you hold that Petri dish on your face all day. That about right?
It's you 100% right. This is what you're doing is actually hurt your health. When you have the mask, practically, even when you're driving your car and everything, 8 hours a day, 9 hours or 10 hours or whatever, you're hurting yourself. You're not helping yourself. And also, this is nothing more than a military weapon. This is a Chinese military weapon to test our weakness. And I got proof of that. The chairman to the Communist Party in China, we have an infiltration in there. Show to the party how they're going to put in the needs our country and the rest of the world. And he showed a lab tube with the coronavirus already. This is 1 year or two before the pandemic supposedly spread. In other words, people don't know half to what is going on. And half to the people in this government right now, they are in the tank with the Chinese
because they got interest, money, receiving for millions and millions. They are own money because we actually, the taxpayers, that they want give you that money to China because we've been manufacturing toilet paper in China, what is the most ridiculous thing I ever see in my life. And now we are in the hands to this sleeping giant that's being nothing more than a totalitarian communist Marxist regime. They're killing hundreds of thousands of Christians every day. And you telling me that we're going to be friends and accept what the recommendations to these individuals? What they have in heart is to destroy a nation. But that is what is going on in that country right now, of there.
Okay.
I want to tell you, my optimism for this country is like a fountain that never ends. And I want to tell you why. Actually, we got worse than this. We got presidents very close compared to what we have now. And one of them is Jimmy Carter. Actually, Jimmy Carter, as you all remember, opened the arms to the Cuban exiles in Miami, in Florida, and almost destroyed the whole state to Florida because our enemies use that weakness to send to United States every single insane patient in the mental hospitals, and also the worst criminals. They empty all the prisons, and every family, the Cubans try to come in and get one of the family members or whatever to rescue, to bring it to Florida. They force them to carry 4 or 5 to those people. If they don't do that, they're not allowed to take their family away from the communists. I saw that, and I saw how the communists function and turn around and convert good and evil and destroy a goodwill. And Jimmy Carter is one of the presidents allowed to that happen because his innocence or his bad intentions, because you never know in these people. Unfortunately, it's another Democrat. But come back to why I have this extreme fountain optimist for this country. I saw this happen before. In the Operation The Zipper, the Cuban Lightning is my code name in the intelligence. The Zipper is the operation we did on behalf of the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, what I consider my second father. I cried 2 times very hard. One is when my father died, and one is when Reagan died. Reagan is don't have to be a president, don't have to be involved in politics. Reagan loved this country, really, genuinely, and saw what is coming. And he have the guts to do what is necessary in that moment. Breaking the law, risking his president, authorize us what he asked in the Congress for funding, because we got the information that they taking over in South and Central America, and they're going to, through the borders to Mexico like they're doing now, they're going to take our country down. The Congress denied to Reagan the funding that we need in that time to what he call in the Iran-Contras. And what happened? Reagan authorized me personally to lead my team and manufacture with the paper, the magnetic ink, and the plates to the Treasury Department currency. And we get that operation, the Zipper, so successful and matter to the terrible misery the country going through. We collapse the Soviet Union economy and we bring down the Berlin Wall.
So through a counterfeit operation.
It's not a counterfeit. We call him cloning. Remember, I'm a genetic specialist. I'm not.
Well, if you use their plates, their paper, their
magnetic ink, and everything.
You're using all the original ingredients.
And I have the green light by the President of the United States. Of course, I cannot say that publicly.
at that time.
Right.
In other words, we actually break the law. And I'm not happy with that in that time, believe me. It take me a while. I asked, give me some time because I have to think about this. We call it in Cuba a pillow. Give me a few weeks to put my head in my pillow and think about it because I don't come into this country to break his laws. And believe me, they convinced me if we don't do that at that time, the country will be collapsed. Because they're going to destroy the country like they try to do now, open the borders. With the billions and trillions of dollars they put it into the terrorists and all these enemies the United States have around the world. We actually saved not only United States in the 80s, we saved the world.
Well, if we're not the beacon of light, I think that the world simply collapses into tyranny.
Absolutely.
There's no place to hide.
No doubts in my mind at all. And that is what I tell you, my optimism is fantastic and great. Because if we survive and we come in with a remedy, with a president with guts, step forward and say, no, we're not going to allow this happen, not in my watch. And we go in a warehouse in Santa Ana, in Orange County, and we build this enormous amount, trillions of dollars in that place. But it's cloning because we got the whole ingredient by the government. Unfortunately, we got into the operation a hick, and we call it a eyelash in the soup. And I get arrested, and I get indicted for 75 years and 6 months. But Reagan, being Reagan, and not abandoning me as he promised, he exonerated me and allowed me with a federal judge to authorize me to leave the country and exonerate everything. That case is still sealed and classified in the federal court. Matter of fact, the case don't even exist anymore because I have the only copy. That is why I'm telling you, gentlemen, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that we have extreme, great warriors in this country, willing to die for this country, and willing, even president, to risk everything for this country, like a Ronald Reagan. We will have another Ronald Reagan, I believe, very soon, and we will save this country again from this Chinese and Russian invasion. That's been manufactured for over 60 years. I can tell you things that really turn your head like an exorcist around. But I don't want to scare you. I want to give you hope. As you ask me, this is going to be the moment to the truth. Why? Because the truth sets you free. And these people step and speak with the lies. They cannot survive in the lie in the shine light to the truth. And remember something. It's very important to remember. United States of America is not a totalitarian regime, and it never will be, because we are composed by hundreds of thousands, if not millions, the immigrants coming from different parts of the world, persecuted for race, religion, ideological thinking from the Nazis, from every bad, evil thing you can imagine it. And those people leave a sea, and that sea is you and I.
Well, I have numerous friends that are first generation Americans, particularly from Peru. And they are some of the most patriotic people. Now, they're all people that came here the right way.
Of course.
I think that matters. This just sneaking across the border bothers me. I want to know who those people are. I want to make sure they don't have diseases, and I want to make sure they're not criminals, and I want to make sure that they want to work.
Or terrorists infiltrating our country.
Yeah.
We stopped the airport in Los Angeles to be blown. Another second 9/11. We stopped that. And those guys crossed the borders illegally with a humongous amount of explosives in the trunk of the car. They intend, because They confess they intend to blow the Los LA airport. And hundreds of thousands of other attempts, the public never get to know because the government don't want to scare people. But those borders, you should not ever do what you've been doing, what this administration has been doing right now. And the only purpose to that is to destroy this country. It's not. Don't let these people make you feel that you are racist or you anti-immigrant or anything like that. This is just a pie that's very stale and all that nobody can eat. Because there's not the purpose. The purpose to that is to bring terrorists, to bring people into this country, to destroy institutions, to destroy our legality. Because, as you say, anybody is welcome to this country. Coming the right way. Okay? And I will tell you something. It's very, 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 very scary. But at the same time, it's good. And is that we in this country need what is going on right now. This particular now situation where we all live in frustration because when we see what is going to happen tomorrow is going to be worse than today. No doubt in anybody's mind. People is being sleeping.
Absolutely.
And people need a shake. And I believe if they don't wake up now, they never will wake up again.
And some of them won't. As long as the majority wake up, we'll be okay.
That is what the point is. Remember, our enemies are a minority. Just scream louder. They scream louder. They say obscenities. They use violence. They destroy property. That is why you notice more.
Well, they are trying to make themselves seem bigger.
Exactly.
3% of patriots, when this country declared its independence, are what changed the world. 3%. It wasn't everybody. 3%.
We're not going to allow an enemy take over. We will stand for United States of America.
Well, again, if you would like to meet this man in person, tonight he is at 15,000 Rose Avenue. I really thank you both for your time today, and it was great to speak with the Patriot. I thank you both.
Thank you to the whole team. My team, we all driving from Orange County, California. They all deserve to be recognized too.
Well,
Let's not forget them.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Finally shredded the truth in what I say, then maybe you can come back and we can talk some more.